Grade 8, Unit 6 Assessment. Wave Properties and Behavior. Time allotted 40 minutes for parts 1 and 2 combined. Part 1 Directions. Each of the questions or incomplete statements below is followed by 4 suggested answers or completions. Select the answer that is best in each case and then fill in the corresponding circle on the answer sheet. 1. Hope drew a diagram to model a light wave being reflected when it meets a brick as shown. The teacher asked Hope to redraw the diagram in order to model some of the energy in the light wave being absorbed by the brick. Which diagram best represents some of the energy in the light wave being absorbed by the brick? 2. This graph represents a sound wave. What is the frequency of this wave? A. 0.5 wavelength per second. B. 1.0 wavelength per second. C. 2.0 wavelength per second. D. 5.0 wavelengths per second. 3. Tyrone gathers amplitude and energy data for 4 ocean waves as shown in the table. Which equation best represents the relationship between amplitude A of an ocean wave and its energy E, according to the data in the table? A. Energy equals amplitude. B. Energy equals amplitude to the second power. C. 1 over energy equals amplitude. D. 1 over energy equals amplitude to the second power. 4. This diagram models a sound wave from a car horn hitting a wall. Sound striking wall reflected sound energy 20%. Car horn incoming sound energy 100%. Transmitted sound energy 70%. Wall. According to the model, which statement best describes what happens to the sound energy when the sound wave hits the wall? A. 10% of the sound energy is absorbed by the wall. B. 30% of the sound energy is absorbed by the wall. C. 80% of the sound energy is reflected by the wall. D. 80% of the sound energy passes through the wall. Part 2 Directions. Questions 5 through 8 are free response questions. Question 5 is worth 4 points and should take about 5 minutes. Question 6 is worth 3 points. It should take about 8 minutes. Question 7 is worth 2 points. It should take about 5 minutes. And question 8 is worth 3 points. It should take about 8 minutes. Read each question carefully and completely. Write your response in the space provided for each question. 5. This graph represents a wave with 4 units of energy at a certain frequency. Draw a graph that represents a wave with 16 units of energy but the same frequency. Be sure to include title, axis, scales, and axis labels. 6. Juana and Harry use a long rope together to model a wave. They follow these steps. 1. Juan and Harry each hold one end of the rope while standing. 2. Juana moves her end of the rope up and down while Harry holds his end of the rope still. 3. Juana uses more energy to move her end of the rope up and down. A. Identify and define one property of the wave that will be affected by Juana using more energy to move the rope up and down. B. Describe how the property you named above will be affected by Juana using more energy to move the rope up and down. C. Explain why Harry has difficulty holding his end of the rope still when Juana uses more energy to move the rope up and down. 7. An architect is designing a recording studio for a musician. The studio needs to be soundproof to keep the noise out. The architect plans to use soundproof panels for the wall, ceiling, and floor. Each soundproof panel is made from 2 sheets of hard foam with a vacuum in between them as shown in the diagram. Describe 2 ways the soundproof panel works to keep out the noise. A. 2 properties of a light wave are represented by X and Y in this diagram. Enrico observes a beam of light. Describe how the beam of light would look different to Enrico if the value of X property for the light wave was increased. Explain your reasoning. B. Describe how the light would look different to Enrico if the value of the Y property for the light wave was increased. Explain your reasoning.